Welcome to Freedom Cast, where your hosts, Jordan and Miranda, show you how to get just a little bit more out of life. Are you ready to leave normal behind?
Welcome, Freedom Casters, to episode 50 of Freedom
50.
Cast.
Wow, we're already at 50. That's crazy.
We have had 50 episodes with you lovely people. Thank you for your support. Thank you for listening. And just thanks for being here on episode 50. This is awesome.
Yeah, we're loving it.
Yeah, so this episode is going to be a continuation of our series on momentum. This is going to be episode number 4 in that series.
Based on Jordan's book, soon to be released, Volcanic Momentum.
Yeah, we're getting super excited about that. October 19th, 2018, that book's coming out.
And that is going to be here before we know it. It's already middle of September, so that's crazy.
Yes, very soon now. It will be very soon.
Yes, you're very right about that.
I am very right about that. Well, thank you, Miranda. Thank you, my dear wife.
That was sweet. Are you going to tell them what the episode's about?
I'm just trying to leave him on the hook a little bit.
Okay.
We thought for episode 50 that we would finally do an episode about goals.
Just a straight episode about goals because it's one of our favorite things to talk about. And I know we talk about it a lot on the podcast, but we have not focused an entire episode solely to goals.
Yeah, we have not. And, we've even had people tell us, I think my mom said it once, hey, I loved your episode on goals. And then I think someone else said it, another time. And we were like, you know what? We haven't actually done an episode about goals, but maybe we talk about it a little bit too much.
I think I was the one that said, I was the other person
I think
said, I was pretty convinced we already had done an episode.
I think you literally were the other person.
Your mom and me, we're just, we're confused.
Everyone thinks that we've done an episode about goals.
But now it's true.
Yep.
Yes.
So we're going to talk about goals. We always are talking about goals in real life. Me and Miranda are huge on goals. We feel like it's been one of the biggest or one of the most beneficial changes for us to be more focused on what we're doing with our lives. And I think that's really what goals are. Goals are, what do I want to do with my life? What do I want to accomplish? What do I want to achieve? What do I want my life to look like? And I think that the discussion with that starts with goals. I don't think you can really answer those questions if you're not setting and making goals.
Do you want to hear what one of my goals is right now, this moment?
I do. I absolutely do.
No, I was just going to say, my goal is for our Corolla to make it through Hurricane Florence.
I would love it if it didn't get flooded.
Well, I think you would love it if it did. And then
No, I was seriously thinking today as I was looking out the window and all the rain and here in North Carolina with dealing with Hurricane Florence, I was like, you know what? I wouldn't really be sad if our Corolla floated away.
Well, I feel like a more appropriate ending would be for just a tree to fall on it.
I mean, I'm okay if a tree falls on it, as long as no one gets hurt, no one's in it, no one's around. If a tree falls on a Corolla, no one hears it. In the woods.
That's so true. So true. But, yeah, I don't know why. I just wanted to address Hurricane Florence because everyone else is talking about it.
Yeah, everyone's talking about the hurricane. We're 3 minutes in, we're talking about hurricanes and Corollas. We're talking about goals here.
Yeah. Well, it's a topic that's on everybody's mind. So I just wanted to throw it out there.
Yep, it is.
Yeah.
So you got another goal you'd like to share?
No, that's all I had. You can continue.
All I was talking about, besides when Miranda interrupted for a minute and a half, is how big and how important goals have been for us. So we wanted to take an episode and dedicate it to that. And just talk a little bit about what we've done and what it's meant in our lives. We know most of you have listened to the episode, and if you haven't, you can go back and do that on our just an introduction to Jordan and Miranda. But like we talk about it all the time. But what do goals really mean? What do they mean for you? And then we're going to talk a little bit about how you can just go ahead and seek goals.
Because I know for me, looking back when we were still living in Pennsylvania, and, Jordan had, you had started your online stuff and you're getting all excited and you had all these goals. And I mean, I was much slower to get on this train. So whenever I came home from work, I'd come home and then I would, flip on Gossip Girl.
Yep.
Eat some snacks. And it just, you don't realize it, but you just fall into these habits where you're not really going anywhere. But it doesn't, you don't really realize it's a problem while you're in it. Because to me, it was, I worked all day. I don't need to come home and then hustle the rest of the day. I deserve to sit down and relax. So it's definitely been a huge shift in my life to be looking at me then and then where we are now, where we just spent, you know, we, like I said, Hurricane Florence, we've been trapped inside all weekend, and we spent the whole weekend just working. But it was fun because we were working towards a goal. And it's just cool to see how much change just having goals in your life can make.
Yeah, and I want to give a little shout out to Miranda. We may have mentioned in some of our other episodes in this series, I don't remember off the top of my head, but Miranda wrote
the one on goals, I think.
Oh, the one on goals?
Yeah.
Okay. This one?
Yeah.
Miranda wrote the foreword for my book, Volcanic Momentum, and I was incredibly just blown away by it. And it's amazing. So if you have
It's a beautiful piece of artwork.
It is. If you have any reason to read the book, and you know, Miranda has never really written anything that's out there. So if you want to read something by Miranda, go ahead.
I thought you were going to say, she's never written anything good.
I mean, I was going to say that, but
yeah, I appreciate the change in direction.
Yeah, I feel like this is a little different tonight. Like I'm doing like the speaking, but you're interrupting me. It's fun.
I know. I should interrupt you more.
See, I don't mind it.
I have so many gems.
You really mind. Yeah, I get, you get talking. I'm like, oh, and you're like, hey.
I get mad.
I don't even know what I was saying.
The
I was talking about your forward. It's really good. If you have any reason to pick up my book, even if you're not interested in learning about momentum or goals and all of that stuff, just get it and read Miranda's forward, and I almost guarantee that you're going to be hooked.
That's a pretty big...
You see what I did there?
A pretty big guarantee that you're throwing out there.
No, but Miranda talks about... The reason why I brought it up here is because Miranda talks about that, how, you know, she started seeing me just like, you know, chase after these dreams that I was having, these big goals that I was chasing, and then she was like, hey, like, I really understand that, you know, and and obviously we talked about before, like, I didn't realize, you know, the benefits of it most of my life. And I talk about that a lot in my book too, about how I was just kind of floundering at certain points in my life, just kind of making decisions based on maybe insufficient information or really just not knowing what I was doing with my life. I mean, I was a year and a half in college undeclared. And then when I finally chose a major, it was criminal justice. And I don't do anything with criminal justice now. And I'm very happy I went to college. Like, Messiah College was amazing. It was an amazing 4 years, probably some of my favorite years of my life, just getting to know some really, really good people. Obviously, I met, you know, a girl there that I married.
Yeah, she's okay.
And then Miranda was okay.
Rude.
No, but it's just, yeah, but it's just really cool to see how far we've come.
It is. And like Jordan was saying, it took me a while. I had to see Jordan at first, you know, start getting into this stuff, and he started getting these goals, and it was kind of annoying for me because, like, on the weekends, it's like, dude, let's just relax and have fun.
I didn't want to do anything, like, and that was still, like, kind of something that I really had to come out of after, you know, I was like this for a while. Like, I didn't want to go out and hang out with people on the weekends. I just want to sit with my laptop and write or learn, like, how to build a website, and I wanted to delve into all that stuff, and that's all I wanted to do.
So Jordan would always go to this place called Juice and Java.
Oh, I love Juice and Java. I'm going back soon.
It's the best place. And,
seriously, actually, I might.
And he would just go there for hours and hours. And, you know, by the third or fourth episode of Gossip Girl, I'm like, well, now I'm kind of bored. But so then I switched to Grey's Anatomy. And
Grey's Anatomy. It's one thing to watch Gossip Girl, but Grey's Anatomy, like, I can't stand, like, they're 10 minutes in, they start playing this music, like, they're ending it. It's like ending music for, like, half an hour.
I mean, Grey's Anatomy, I would say, is a better show than Gossip Girl.
I know.
You just don't like the... It's dramatic. It's, like, really...
Well, I just don't like the dramatic, like, it feels like I'm ending music. This is way besides the point.
It is, but you know, it's still applicable to life.
So in about 10 minutes of a podcast here, we talked a little bit about our opinions on goals. So let's share with our audience. Let's talk a little bit about destiny goals, and people can read my opinions on destiny goals all they want, but let's hear a little bit from Miranda on what she feels destiny goals are, and maybe just talk just briefly about what destiny goals are to you. And then just maybe some ideas for people. To
I
either
mean-
get started or have to have.
I mean, you're really putting me on the spot here because I honestly didn't read your book.
Yes, you did.
Just kidding.
Wow.
I've read it like 5 times.
You've read it too many times, probably.
It's very good. I'm so excited for it to be out there in the world. But
You're just saying that because you wrote the forward.
I know it's so good.
You're like, actually, yeah, just the forward.
Destiny goals are just a bigger form of goals. It's a goal, but it's a big goal that you're going to have a lot of little goals to work towards, and it's something that's for the greater good. It's not just something, it's not just I want to get promoted at work. It's, like I want to end world hunger kind of thing.
It's big, it's beyond you.
It's beyond you, and it's going to take a community to get there, and it's going to take a long time. And like I said, it's going to take a lot of little goals along the way. And you may not actually get there, but what were we watching yesterday where they said, like, well, you still got to try? What was that from? I shouldn't have even said that because I knew I wasn't going to remember what it was from.
We were watching Parenthood, and then we watched a movie.
We watched
working.
Ocean's 8.
Was it Ocean's 8?
I don't think so. I honestly don't know. It's late. So yeah, Destiny goals are just goals that are just huge. Like what?
And I made up the term.
Yeah, it's like a mission
But
statement.
it works.
But a mission statement in terms of what you want to accomplish.
Yeah.
The lag measure, if you will.
There you go. You're going to have to explain what that is.
No, I can't.
We'll cut that out then.
No. You don't have to cut it
Okay.
out. It's fine. The lag measure is something that's the opposite of a lead measure.
Yes. A lag measure is basically a goal. A lead measure is what you're doing to accomplish that goal. That's a term that is used in the book 40X, 4 Disciplines of Execution, that I loved and actually has influenced a lot of my thinking. So definitely check out that book. It was a book that I read for work, so it's probably not something a lot of people have read out there. And you can use whatever terms you want, but me and Miranda use those terms because I talked way too much about that book. And I still talk about it, and that was like 4 years ago.
It comes up a lot.
It does.
Day-to-day conversation. So, yeah, that's what a destiny goal is, and we think it's very important.
Because it's important. It's more than just it's more than just about you. And I think that was the biggest thing. And that you see all these people that, all these rich people have all this money and they seem like they have everything. But you see
unhappy.
How many of these people are unhappy. And I don't think the journey, our goal is necessarily should just be happiness and that's it. Because if it's just happiness for ourselves and our own selfish endeavors, then what are we really striving for? I think that's good. Like, I love having a good time. I think me and Miranda both strongly believe that God wants us to be happy. He doesn't want us to be miserable. But if we're just striving for happiness and just selfish endeavors, then we're not going to reach it. It's just one of those things you can't reach directly for happiness for your own personal selves and then find that. It has to be something where you're doing it as part of a community. You're working with other people, and that's where I came up with that term, destiny goals, and that's what it means to us.
Yes. Happiness is very fickle because, you get a raise at work and you're super excited about it and you're like, wow, I'm going to be making so much more money. This is great. And then 2 months into that new salary, you're thinking, man, I could really use another raise.
Yeah.
And your lifestyle grows with how much you make, and you think, okay, when I get that, that new Jeep, this is an example for Jordan.
Oh man, I would be very happy.
I'm going to be. Don't contradict me.
Okay, I'm not. I'm just saying I love Jeeps. Like, that's all.
You think that's gonna give me lasting happiness, and material objects very rarely do. And
you are the expert on this stuff, by the way.
Oh yes, the expert.
The minimalist.
But it's more than that too, because even just reaching for comfort, if comfort in life is your main goal, you get there and then you're bored. And if your only goal is to just excel at work, then you're probably pushing your relational stuff to the side, and then you're unhappy there. So it's just, I think a huge, huge part of happiness is reaching out and not being totally self-centered.
Finding a purpose beyond yourselves. Yeah, and
yeah.
I think a really good story for this is we had a lot of wonderful, great residents at all of our retirement communities, but we saw a lot of older people that would just watch TV a lot of the day. And that was the biggest thing that happened to them. Like if their TV went out and they couldn't work it. I mean, I fixed 3 or 4 TVs a day at these places. It was pretty crazy, but again, it's not bad in, you know, if in just in and of itself watching TV, but it's just the reasoning behind it. I mean, I think a lot of older people just don't have the drive. They don't have the purpose anymore.
Yeah.
And it's sad because you're like, you could still be doing so much and well beyond just doing that. But it's that culture of just like, well, I've retired. I've kind of hit that point. I deserve to be happy.
I've done my time.
Yeah. And that's where the culture that we live in right now can just lead us so wrong and so poorly in that, you know, do whatever you want, whatever makes you happy. But that's not what it's about, because if you seek that, you're not going to find it. So what were you going to say?
I don't remember. But
okay.
But it is just it's so crazy how there's just so much in the culture today that is just, you know, you do you know, find like what makes you happy. But if what makes you happy is hurting a lot of people along the way and making a path of destruction, then, you know, that's not the best thing to do. What can, you know, the more you look to other people and think, how can I help other people, it's better, honestly, the less focus you have on yourself, because people are really hard on themselves too. And if you're working towards a bigger goal that's bigger than yourself, then it's less pressure on you in the end, because you're reaching towards something even bigger. And I mean, we're not saying we've mastered this by any means.
Oh no, not at all.
But it's just, we know it to be true. Just the times we have gone out of our comfort zone and, you know, helped other people or had a goal that was bigger than ourselves. It's amazing how, you know, how great we felt after that and all the benefits we reaped from that.
But also with that, we also realize, you know, life is always just going to be there. Life's going to get in the way. And I think, and that's a key thing that I talk about in my book. We talk about in our podcast. I mean, that's one thing Miranda and I definitely believe, because I think there's so much advice out there, you know, and we say that the culture leads you towards happiness. There's a lot of good advice out there too, mixed in with the bad. But a lot of the advice out there, I think, doesn't share like how hard it is to really get started and to play that into your current reality. You know, I think there's a lot of people that just have so much going on. We're such a busy set of people, especially over here in America. If you're listening to us from out of America, hey there, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. But you know, we're busy over here.
That's a really aggressive hello to the foreigners.
I know. I was excited. I was thinking, man, like I hope
I
someone.
think they just ran away.
I hope someone from Canada's listening. That's all. I mean, I just got a little bit excited about that.
No,
but anyway,
that's great.
Yeah.
Sorry, I missed you.
Go ahead.
So it is that key component to have that focus is to create those destiny goals and to have those smaller goals that are going to get you headed towards that destiny goal.
So let's give an example of what a destiny goal might look like, Miranda.
Yeah, why don't you give us an example?
Why don't we discuss an example?
Why don't you go ahead and do that?
To share an example of a destiny goal, we're going to talk about how you level up some more basic goals. So say you had a more basic goal. I talk about small, attainable goals in my book. Maybe it's just like read 2 books this week or read 2 books this month, depending on how you want to do that, depending on your reading level and how much time. Reading level as in speed. Like I read pretty slow and Miranda reads pretty fast.
I want a grade 2 reading level.
Yeah,
how many books do you think I can read in a month?
I did not mean to suggest that someone was listening on a grade 2 reading level. But yeah, that could be a small attainable goal. And then maybe a big goal is to read 50 books in 1 year, like Miranda and I had. We've talked about before too. That was our goal this year, and we did it. I think we both completed it in July of this year, July or August. I can't remember, but we both completed it on schedule. Well, early.
On early schedule.
On early schedule.
Yes.
And then if you think about a destiny goal with that, it could be to give away all the print books you acquired, maybe to a local library, or just have a celebration of reading and have a big party, and then give some print books away to people that might need it. It's just anything that gets beyond yourself. And that's where it can be really cool, because you're expanding the goals you already have. You're moving forward, and you're saying, okay, I completed this goal, but then what's the next step? Like, the next step maybe shouldn't just be to read 100 books in a year, and maybe it will be for us at some point, and that could be another big goal. But I think if we keep setting these big goals for ourselves and not just taking it to that next level of a destiny goal, then I think we're missing out. And I think that's like the missing piece in goals nowadays.
Yeah, and you can make it even bigger than that. You know, you can go from just, handing out books and donating them to, okay, I want to, solve illiteracy in my home state or something.
Yes.
And you can change school legislation or something. And, you can get as big as you want with these destiny goals. It is just, making it something that helps other people, and something that it's not easy to do. And it's something to really work towards, and you can kind of use it as an umbrella for a bunch of other little goals beneath it that can, lead you towards that. And I think you're right. I think that is, a lot of people preach goals, and that's because goals are awesome, and we're, part of that. But I think it is definitely a missing piece of, goals, not just for yourself, but for even more than that.
It just needs to go beyond us. And that's really what we're saying here. And I think that can truly make all the difference. It's made all the difference for us, for me and Miranda to think about, like, okay, and we started out with these small goals. We started out with bigger personal goals. And I think that's a great place to be. But, we're really trying to think of these bigger life destiny goals and thinking like, okay, what's our big purpose in this life? We talked on another episode about our mission statement. And getting to that point was super cool, because it's like really figuring out what Jordan and Miranda want to do. So you as a listener, what do you want to do? And it's super important that you start setting goals and then achieving them, taking action towards goals. Oh my gosh, I could talk about taking action all day. But you need to take action to make those goals happen. But then what's beyond that? And I think that's where we can get stuck. So I think it's cool that we're realizing this. I'm very thankful that like it's something that me and Miranda are both realizing through the struggle and through the trials. And like we always say we don't have it all figured out, but this is just it's a cool truth that we've realized, and we're really excited to share it.
And it is, if you're having a hard time trying to figure out, well, I don't know, who I want to help or what I want to focus on, it is, you can kind of reverse engineer it with what is something that really bothers me, or that I really feel passionate about or get really upset about. When you see hungry children, does that get you really fired up, and something that you just feel is so wrong? And
yeah,
that's a good indicator that, hey, maybe that's something you need to make part of your destiny goal. And it could be, even something not as big as that.
It could be like what prickles you.
Yeah, like, with Jordan, he gets really irritated when we're getting off of a plane and people are getting their stuff and they're just moving so slow, or when people are boarding the plane and it's like they're trying to fit like a circle into a square kind of thing. It's just, something like that really gets you fired up, and you've actually helped people. Like a little sweet little old lady that comes down and she can't reach, like you just go and help her. And that's, it's something that instead of just sitting there grumbling, you can just fix it, which was cool that you just help.
Or you could go to the other extreme of this guy that was in the airplane once that just was like standing there getting everyone's bags. Like he was taking everything. He was doing it all himself. I don't know if you remember that.
I don't know.
But it was pretty awesome. This guy was like, let's move it along. And he was like just grabbing people's bags. And I'm like, why am I not that guy? Like I had I'm like, I love that guy. That guy's my new friend. Yeah, I could talk about that all day. That drives me crazy.
Yeah,
why do people move so slow? But instead of just talking about it, I either need to shut up or figure out a way to fix it, or to help the problem. Be like that guy.
Yeah, exactly. Like even little things like that. There's just, you can help in so many little ways. You just have to think about it and get creative. And that's where we struggle, because there are a lot of things that we're like, man, like today I feel like helping somebody, and then well, what are we gonna do? I don't know.
Yeah.
So it takes a really serious mental effort, because it's not easy to help other people. It's always going to be slightly awkward, or you're going to feel a little bit like you're intruding, or you never want to make someone else uncomfortable. But I know we've talked about like paying for someone else's coffee and stuff like that.
So uncomfortable.
People get weird about that stuff. I mean, it's like being nice shouldn't be hard, but sometimes it is, because it's hard.
Yeah, it's just weird because you don't want to step over the line. I think it's like, I don't know why it can be so uncomfortable. I mean, I saw there was a light bulb on the ground, or a light covering on the ground outside our neighbor's house, and I was scared to put it back because I'm like, what if she purposely took that off and like put it in the middle of the area, which is a ridiculous thing to think.
It looked like it was put there on purpose, though, so it was kind of like, well, I don't know.
Like, yeah, I don't want to put it back and like mess it up, but it's simple things like that, and maybe someone else would just put it back and not worry about it. But like, me and Miranda don't like to like step on people's toes, or we're very much like, we don't like to impose,
because we don't like to be imposed upon.
That's
and
very
I think
true.
We're very sensitive to that, so that's why we don't like to, like, I hate feeling uncomfortable, so I don't want to make someone else uncomfortable.
I mean, because if my light cover was off, it would be probably intentional.
Yeah,
my light cover would never fall off. I mean,
yeah, who moved that?
Why would someone move that?
Yeah, exactly.
We do want to share, and this is a cool transition here, not really that good of a transition by me, but we're going to share this because this is going to help you. We're going to share 6 steps that I share in my book, but we're going to share them here as well. And I'm going to let Miranda talk about them a little bit more, since it's just cool to get her perspective on things, because she's amazing. But we're going to take a look at these 6 steps to maybe figuring out or discovering some of your own destiny goals.
Yeah, so the first step is to find somebody that you can help bounce ideas off of.
Grab a friend, say, hey, I need your help. You're coming over. I'll buy you a pizza. Yeah,
definitely throw some food in there, because it's that same thing. Like, it has to be someone you are very comfortable with to say, hey, I want to figure out some destiny goals. You want to, dream about goals with me?
And maybe
it's got to be a special person.
Yeah, but maybe don't say that.
Say, I got pizza. You want to chat?
Yeah. Well, you want to help me out here?
So definitely pick the right person. You don't want someone that's super negative, or someone that brings you down emotionally. You just want to find someone that lifts you up, is encouraging, that you feel totally comfortable with, because you want to just be able to say all the crazy ideas you have in your head, and you need to feel really comfortable with that. So a significant other, or a family member, or a really good friend, those are the types of people you want. You don't want to just go up to your coworker Bob and say, Bob, I got some destiny goal ideas. Can I bounce them off you?
Yeah, finding an accountability partner is, you'll see that advice all over the place, but it's huge to start surrounding yourself with friends, with people. I mean, even if you have to start pushing at your family members to get them going with this type of stuff, like, it's really helpful, and it's like, I think it's monumental for change, is figuring out how to surround yourself with these people. Maybe say, I don't have any friends that want to talk about goals. Well, maybe you need to get some new friends. Like, maybe that's a little bit judgmental.
You crossed the line.
I think should I take that out, probably?
No, well, all you're trying to say is, I mean,
I'm not trying to say just drop all your friends. I'm not trying to say that.
But you always hear you are like the sum of the 5 people you spend your time with.
Yeah, that's serious advice, and that's true, I think.
Because, you start hanging out with someone more, you start saying things they say.
You do,
and,
yeah, I
like
found
little
that.
phrases that you would never say before. And you're like, oh, I just started saying that because that person's around. And you are affected by other people and, how positive or negative they are. You definitely do, you want to be a light to people who are in a dark place, definitely, but you also need to have those people who are positive as well. It's all about, having
balance.
that fine line of balance.
And you do have to put on your own oxygen mask before you help other people.
Yes.
And that is just, it's very important.
But life
if you're going to
isn't
sink.
all about you, so there's that balance.
That's true, there's that balance, yeah.
We're just contradicting ourselves.
But that's we're not really contradicting ourselves, because we are saying you do need to have those basic level goals and then upgrade. But like,
Yes.
if you're all about your self purpose and what you're doing, and it's not about other people, that's where you're going to start to decline.
Yeah.
Or see ya.
So after you figure out and find a good person
Número 2.
to talk to this about, yes.
In the Destiny Goal brainstorming session.
Yes. Then you want to get a piece of paper, or our favorite, a whiteboard, or a journal, laptop, whatever your favorite medium of writing is, go ahead and get that. And I mean, it's so important to write things down, because if you're just talking about it, it disappears into the ether, and it's just hard to make that a serious effort unless you're writing these things down. And
very quick side note, with that, we need to work on our memory, because we can't remember anything unless we write it down.
Yeah, we've gone way overboard.
We need to read a memory book, but go ahead.
We really, really do. So after, yeah.
Sorry, I just had to say that because it's one of our funny faults. Like, literally, if we don't write it down, it's gone.
It's just gone, yeah. Another important part is to find a place where you're not super distracted. Like, if you're in a coffee shop, some people work very well there. I tend to just start people watching and get distracted by cute little kids, and, you know, it's just, I'm easily distracted. But yeah, find a place that works for you where you'll actually be able to focus and be able to really hash this out.
Number 4 is to ponder this question, really important question. What would you do with your life if nothing at all was holding you back? If you had nothing else going on, no limitations, no schedule, maybe no job. You had you had this freedom. And it's not saying what you do is not good, but this is just a way to open up your mind. And believe it or not, I can really struggle with this sometimes, getting my head out of the box. We had one session where Miranda had to be like, no, Jordan, like, get outside the box. Think, like, just give me any idea you have. Like, this is the only way we're going to really think about this. And that's why this question can help. So again, what would you do with your life if nothing at all was holding you back? We do want you to ponder that for a little bit, because we don't want you to limit your thinking.
Which is so easy to do, because even if you think like, okay, like, money's not an issue. What would I do? Where would I go? And you still limit yourself.
You still limit yourself to your current circumstances. Yeah.
Yeah. And you're like, well, I don't think I'd be comfortable in that country for this or that reason, or I don't think I could ever do that. I don't have the right personality. Like, you limit yourself. So it's so important to just, like, throw out ridiculous ideas just to start that flow of just out of the box thinking and getting to that core, because that's honestly the hardest part about answering that question, is taking down those filters that you put in your mind. Like, especially talking to someone else, you're gonna be like, okay, well, they're gonna think that's weird, or they're gonna laugh at that.
Yeah.
And it's just that insecurity of being a human that you're gonna have to try to shake for this.
Yeah, because maybe you want to go to clown college. I mean, maybe you want to go down to Mexico and spend a year there doing, whatever. I don't know. I can't think of what you do in Mexico, but I just thought of that as a country.
Be a clown in Mexico.
Be a clown in Mexico, and then take trips to Iceland.
Yeah, just think crazy things, whatever, is really in your head. Don't try to filter it.
Yep, and again, Miranda and I did this, and it was life-changing. I mean, we do it every once in a while, just say like, hey, we want to have a brainstorming session. We're nerds, we know. But like, we love talking about this stuff, because it's like, what do we want to do with our lives? And this is why I love writing this stuff. I mean, we get seriously so passionate about this.
So much potential. Everyone has so much potential. And we just trap ourselves into this thinking that we can't accomplish these great things. And it's just about taking action. And it's just about having those goals, having like a general direction that you want to head. And you can do so much more than you ever thought you could actually do. And it's amazing. Everyone has so much potential. Every human is just a special snowflake.
Yeah.
And
wow.
And it's, if people could just get beyond that self-defeating philosophy that they're never going to accomplish what they want to, then so much more would be, happening, and so many more people would be fulfilling their purpose.
Yeah, it just opens up some possibilities, even if you're not thinking about, like, even if you're not thinking negatively, even if you're relatively happy, really, there's honestly probably just so much more out there for you.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about here. We know, and we say that because we know it's true for us. We know our ultimate potential is way beyond what we're doing right now. And we don't know what that is yet, but it's something that we're seeking. We're looking for it. We're talking about it. We're brainstorming. We're saying, hey, what do we want to do? And I really, truly hope we never stop truly reaching. I think, already it's really, I mean, we're not doing it for like the sake of happiness, but Miranda and I are very happy people because I think a lot of it is because like we're just constantly seeking and looking after that, looking toward that next thing.
Yeah, it definitely makes just a huge difference. And I know it's weird, and sometimes I still feel strange when people are like, "Oh, what'd you do this weekend?" And it's easier to say, I binge watched Gossip Girl. That's easier to say than, "Oh, I'm working on my personal blog, or I'm working on this course I'm creating, or I'm writing a book, and I spent the whole weekend working."
Or Jordan spent 2.5 days in a closet recording his audiobook, and then he asked me to go in
and record the forward. Yeah. It was very special, special setup, because the sound quality, and we're in the office now. It's not bad, but in the closet, it's a lot better.
Oh, it's way better. I mean, you look at if you look at any kind of, if you look at recording advice for an audiobook, the first thing they tell you is to do it in a closet if you're if you're on a low budget. And I didn't feel, we didn't feel like we had the time to really make this office because the office is it's not a small office, it's a bigger office, which is really nice. I love the office. It's just a little bit too big to.
Whoa, office show off. I'm just kidding.
Hey, I love my office. It's great. But we have like stuff up on the walls, but it's just not enough to really just condense the sound.
Yeah, so I would come home from work and Jordan would just be in the closet, door shut, talking to himself all day.
Yep, it's a little weird. I was with in the office with Miranda's pink laptop recording. Yeah, it's a story.
It's a story. So,
but the audio quality for my audiobook that's coming out for the Volcanic Momentum is going to be legit.
Spectacular.
It sounds like smooth butter.
So
number 5.
Number 5.
Wow, that was like a 10-minute.
This question, you do want to just shoot these ideas back and forth between whoever your accountability partner is, and to just, having someone else there really helps to just kind of expand the ideas too. And other people have really good insight on your characteristics that you don't even realize. Someone could say, "Oh yeah, well you're like a really great leader," and you would say, "Well, I didn't think I was," and they'd be like, "Oh, remember that time, when we were playing rec frisbee and you took charge or something?" So other people really have a really great perspective that you don't even see, even though you're in your head all the time.
Yep.
And
last but not least,
don't make this a one-time thing. Continue
for real.
Continue to meet with this person and talk about where you are in the process of achieving this goal, as well as, do I need to redirect my goal? And it's just fun to dream big. It really just expands your mind, and it's a lot of fun to just like, well, what could I do? I have so much potential. I'm on this earth for a limited time. What do I want to do with my time on this earth to make it a better place?
Yep, and we'll leave you with something that I've written before in my book, something that Mark Batterson, one of my favorite authors, has written in his books. He talks about the fact that God wants us to get where God wants us to go way more than we want to get there. So just hang tight, stay true to your goals, keep working at it, work with that person, and just keep going. And then we got you. If you have any questions or need our help with anything, just reach out. We'd be happy to touch base with you.
Exactly.
Yep. So if you want more information about my book, I know we talked about that probably a little too much in this episode, but bear with us.
They're like, man, stop
this
talking
is
about
episode
that
number
book.
4 in the Momentum series. We are all about pushing this book, pushing the momentum. Thank you for listening to us so far. For more about the book, you can go to www.jmring.com.
GeorgeWBush.com.
No. Don't go to GeorgeWBush.com. Thank you, Miranda. www.jmring.com/volcanic-momentum. jmring.com/volcanic-momentum. Thank you, friends, and stay dry.